Hello, hello again. This is Emily Leach. I'm the founder of the Freelance Conference, and I am so honored today to be in the presence of Dr. Minette Riordan. Is it Riordan, right?
Riordan.
Riordan. I guess I should have asked that prior too.
Right.
We tend to look at a name, people's names sometimes, and say it over and over and over in our head. And then by the time we meet the person, it's like going, oh, it's pronounced nothing like that. And then your head just goes, I don't know what to do with that. So I'm going to practice that one. Thank you so much for being with us.
I'm excited to be here today. Super fun.
I'm going to take a super quick break and just run over to my Facebook real quick. If you want to do this with me, that'd be great. And I'm going to go over to the Freelance Conference page. If you're live and hanging out with us, share it as well. I'm just going to share it over to my personal page real quick. And then I'll come right back. I promise it won't take but a second.
Awesome.
Okay, maybe it'll take more than 1 second because my computer seems to be, there it is. Okay, so I'm just going to real quick share it now public and be done with that. Thank you so much. So those of you guys that shared it too, thank you as well. So I want to dive right in, Minette, and talk about something cool and fun. I know you guys just got back from Canada. So what were you guys doing up there?
So my husband is from Nova Scotia, which is up above Maine for people that may not know where that is. Hey, Gina, glad to see you here. Gina and I met in Texas, and this would be a great conference actually for Gina to attend as well. And I know, right? So another recent Texan. But we have cottages on the coast of Nova Scotia that have been in the family now for over 80 years. Like the cottage we stay in was built in the 30s. And so lots of fun family history, no internet, no television, literally right on the ocean. So we spent a lot of time playing in the water, hiking, and just sitting around doing nothing, which for an entrepreneur is a challenge.
It is. I was actually waiting to see what you said, because some people are like going, I love to do that. And I'm going, I don't understand.
It took me a whole week, I think a whole week, before I really just relaxed into the time. And I love to make art. So those 2 weeks in Nova Scotia, I take art supplies and I tend to spend a lot of time just making art. And I found a local artist with an amazing studio right on a different part of the island in the ocean in Nova Scotia. So I took my niece and my daughter and my mother-in-law and spent a day in her painting studio having painting classes. So it always feels like a super creative time to be there.
Oh, I bet. We went to Mexico actually it's been a few months now. And it did take me a week, luckily, because we only stayed for a week. But it did take 2 or 3 days before I felt, kind of comfortable in this, my take a deep breath and not just suck it right back up in, and start back over again. So, yeah, I can relate. And like you said, I think a lot of solopreneurs, freelancers, entrepreneurs can definitely relate to that.
And our brains are just on all the time. Like I think it's a blessing and a curse. I love what I do. And I spend a lot of time thinking about my business and the creative part. And I know freelancers really resonate with this. There's so much fun stuff we get to do in our work, right? And so it's hard to turn it off because I love it so much. Yes, there's a lot to do. And yes, it's stressful. And yes, I could be doing this or that. But at the underneath all of that is just the sheer delight in the thinking about business for me personally. And so that is the part that's hard to turn off.
I can resonate with that. Absolutely. So I just saw that Anna, actually one of the partners here at the Freelance Conference, just posted out there. She's like, for sure, she just spent the weekend at the beach and found myself sneaking in the tent just to look for stuff to do.
I love it. That's awesome, Anna.
Yeah, she's a hoot. Okay, so now that you've had a little bit of time off, I'm kind of super excited about the timing of that, because now you have these next, 35, 40 days to really focus on the Freelance Conference. I'm sure that's totally the only thing you're going to do.
Oh, yeah. It's totally the only thing.
But talk to us a little bit real quick before we dive into what you're doing at the conference about what you do. You do some interesting stuff, and you've really had a cool journey as to finding out how to do your purpose and really dive into your passion.
Yeah. So long story short, I owned a publishing company based in Plano, Texas for 11 years. I had a parenting magazine. I put on huge expos and events, and I made every mistake you can make in business. I mean, I rode that money roller coaster. As a creative, trying to figure out the numbers piece of any business model is really challenging. So trying to figure all that out, not knowing what I was doing. When I dove into that company, I had been a university teacher, a high school teacher of Spanish. I had taught world religions. I had worked at Claire's. I love earrings, right? I had done a lot of creative things around teaching. I knew nothing about business. I just thought, how hard can it be? And I dove right in. It's kind of my motto for life. How hard can it be?
Mine too. And what I've noticed is every time I say that, I really should probably turn around and exit stage left because it's usually hard. But anyway.
Yeah. It's hard in a good way. Like, I love the challenge. And thanks, Juan. I love talking about business, and I can talk about it all day long. And, but so I had quite an emotional journey of personal discovery. I think we forget that being an entrepreneur is about business foundations and systems, but it's an inside out journey. And it really is that connecting to what we want most first that's important. That was the mistake I made. I'm like, this will be fun. How hard can it be? But I didn't know where I was going or what I wanted to do with it. I had no exit strategy in place. So, 6 or 7 years in, it's 2008, 2009, everything's crashing around me, right? And we're trying to figure out what was next. And so ultimately what was next for us was to sell the publishing company, move our family to Santa Barbara, California, where after 5 years, I still, Emily, wake up every single day, look at my beautiful mountains, look at the ocean and go, oh my God, I live here.
Oh, that's great.
Life is pretty amazing. And it's no matter where we travel in the world, coming home to here always feels really special too. So I'm extra glad to be home today. But now what I do is I really help other creative entrepreneurs to leverage their gifts and talents into a business model that works for them, to help them understand how to use their creative talents to create systems that work for our crazy visual brains. We were talking before the call about the beautiful graphic illustration behind you. This is how I do business, right? Is in visual ways like this that make sense to us. 80% of us are primarily visual learners, and yet nobody teaches in a visual way that really connects with creatives. So I help you take all the insanity, craziness, beautiful genius that's going on in your mind and put it into a profitable business system.
I love it. One question I had for you was, do you think, you'd made a statement of, you made all the mistakes and you didn't know where you were going and you didn't know what your path, but do you think that a lot of times that's just part of the process?
Yes and no. Like, if somebody had told me in the beginning to begin with the end in mind, I would have thought about it. It doesn't mean that end was a hard point, right? Like a total destination, but I would have planned a little better along the journey, right? So if I would have gone into it thinking, oh, I'm creating a legacy for my family and I'm going to have this for the rest of my life, it would have been different than my office manager one time said it was like we were digging a ditch and digging a ditch and digging a ditch. And every once in a while you pop your head up and you kind of look out and you might course correct a little bit, but you don't know where you're digging to. Right. And so it felt often fruitless to not really know what our big why was, as I like to say. Why was I building this business? What was the point? To the point where it kind of lost its meaning. So having some idea of where you're going, I think creates meaning, and having an idea of the impact that you want to make creates meaning. And meaningless business is, just about the money. And I don't know any creative that's in it for the money.
It's sad. Or it makes me feel sad.
Well, I'm in it for the money, but it's meaning and money, right? It's finding the happy marriage between meaning and money, and being willing to get paid, make it okay to be paid for the meaningful work that you do. So we could have a whole different call just about the money mindset stuff. But
we may have to do a webinar next year or something.
Awesome.
Just because it would be a whole lot of fun. So talk to me real quick about, I know, if I remember correctly, the name that we've put on the workshop that you're doing on the Saturday of the conference is Designing Your Roadmap to Success. And you talk about profitability. So give us a quick little insight as to what.
Yeah, so super excited. So people will literally walk away with a one-page business plan, and it will be the prettiest business plan they've ever seen. We actually have an entire business planning process, and it looks like a mandala. It's gorgeous, it's colorful, and it's a visual way to represent all the different things you need to know to build that profitable business. So what I find with a lot of creatives and freelancers is that we just want to do our work. And we think that business planning is going to be painful and boring. And so I'm here to say no more boring business plans, but that a plan keeps you on track, because building business is hard. And when it gets hard, we need to know what to do next. And so having just a simple one-page roadmap will help you create that vision. And so when you wake up on a Monday morning going, I don't know what to do today to grow my business, you'll be able to go to that roadmap and say, oh, here's where I'm going, or here who is I need to connect with, or oh yeah, I need to spend a little time on the cost of doing business or marketing. But it's just a process for bringing all of you to your business in a more creative way. It's fun, it's practical, and it's super effective.
What I love about it was, what hit the most outside of it's just fun and beautiful is that when you wake up in the morning, and every freelancer, solopreneur that I've ever met has this issue, if not every day.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning, you get to your desk, it's like, well, what am I going to work on today? I did. Here's my piece of paper. No, I didn't put down. Okay, well, I guess I don't have anything to do today.
Well, and on those to-do lists are never the really important money-making activities, like make follow-up sales calls and do your marketing. And you have this huge list of client delivery projects, hopefully, right? Or you're wondering, oh my gosh, I don't have any client projects. Where am I going to go find my clients? So the business plan will help you understand where to go to get clients. What are the systems you need to have in place? And how are you going to make all of this fun and meaningful? What is the reason that you're doing this work?
Yeah, no, it's like I said, absolutely beautiful. I'm just putting the title back up there. So for those of you guys that are, if you have any questions, we are watching questions and stuff over in the live comments. But the way the conference is set up is on this Saturday is a set of workshops, and Minette will be coming in and doing one of those, like she said, and it's really sounds like it's going to be awesome. And I love the fact that it's so hands-on. You're going to walk away with an actionable concept and process to put into your business. And it's one of the activities that I believe, based on what I see in conversations that I have with freelancers, that doesn't really get addressed, is how am I going to work on my business today instead of in it? And there really are two completely separate activities that need to happen, every day to some degree, right?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Every day. And I think it's not all day, every day. I think the fear is that we're not going to get to do our creative work. We're not going to get to do the work that we love. But the truth is, if you put in 30 minutes to an hour working on your business every day, it actually frees you up, because it eliminates some of the stress, some of the overwhelm, some of those feelings of being stuck or not knowing where to find clients. Right. And what I find with a lot of freelancers is that they really ride a money roller coaster where they're really flush with clients. And while they're doing all this client work, they don't do marketing. And then they have these huge income gaps, right? And so by learning how to smooth out those income gaps and create more sustainable business models, it makes everything easier and more fun.
Yeah, I would agree. I found the same thing. I've been doing this since 92, and I definitely went through, the wave. And I literally took a whiteboard and I wrote a wave, and then I began to document what was going on during the up, what was going on, what happened during, to evaluate, because to get it out of my head. And after a period of time, I was like, oh, for some reason I couldn't see it until I wrote it out on a whiteboard.
Well, because we're visual, right? We can't see it. I drive my husband crazy. My husband's my business partner. And so we tend to really complement each other. He's a former programmer. So much more structured, bullet points, right? And I'm like, I have to draw it out. I can't even think without seeing it on paper, right? So just learning, I say relearning what your own learning style is to make sure that you're getting the business skills you need in a way that makes sense for you. And there's actually a lot of people right now teaching to creatives in a whole new way that just makes so much more sense for all of us who are those visual learners.
Yeah. So I teach a class on how to get started freelancing, and we take every single piece of the class is brainstorming on your own paper, and then having to then tell the class and getting to hear what the class says back, and then letting someone else take notes, because we're usually not very good note takers.
Yes.
And, go through that whole thing, and people just walk away like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what all I got out of that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's so funny. We host a big 3-day live event, and I give everybody in their workbook, they have mandalas to color. And I tell them, let go of the need to take copious notes. You're going to get whatever you need from the workshop and allow yourself to color. And it's amazing the feedback that I get from people about just relaxing into the process of coloring opens their ears to focus in a different way. And if I had a whole nother lifetime, Emily, I would want to go back and completely revolutionize the way kids are taught in schools. You know, as a former school teacher, I'm very passionate about education, but so I'm doing it for adults instead of for kids at this point in my life. But I think there's so many better ways to connect with people than in a traditional, more linear structural format.
Yeah, you're definitely not alone in that passion to want to go completely reform the entire education system.
I'm sure I'm not. Okay, we got to have lots more future conversations about this.
We definitely do. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, thank you so much for some of your time today. For those of you guys out there that have been maybe thinking about the Freelance Conference, or maybe this is the first time you've heard about it, welcome to the group. And so the Freelance Conference is this year is September 8th and 9th here in Austin, Texas. If you have not yet gotten your ticket, then go out to freelanceconference.com and go ahead and get your ticket today. You can get a virtual ticket or you can get an in-person ticket. And the in-person tickets are limited. So we can keep that small, because that's the other thing I find about freelancers is they really like more intimate events, and it allows us to do more events like what you're doing, more hands-on stuff. So it really is spending a couple of days working on your business, and even some self-work, all that's, we are a business, so we have to touch all of it. Yeah. So I invite all of you guys to come out to the Freelance Conference, and whether you come in person or you watch virtually, we would love to have you.
Yeah, so, I look forward to meeting everybody. I look forward to giving you a big fat hug in person. So exciting.
Well, thank you guys so much again for your time. And I think we have another interview tomorrow, so I hope to see you then. And until then, thank you once again, Minette, and we'll see you on the flip side.